Beloved by their owners, but now the target of a dangerous dog crackdown. From Thursday in England and Wales, owning an unregistered XL bully is a criminal offence as the government attempts to phase out the powerful breed blamed for fatal attacks on humans and animals. Owner Terry Wigsell told Reuters the ban unfairly targets the breed and the real problem is irresponsible owners.
When I put his muzzle on and I take him for his walks, he sort of looks at me as if to say, I think he might think I'm punishing him, like I'm doing it to him.
More than 30,000 XL bullies have been registered an exemption. They must be muzzled in public and sterilised to prevent breeding.
Good boy.
Owners caught without an exemption face unlimited fines and up to 6 months in prison. Sam Wilkinson is voluntarily helping rehome dogs as some owners panic.
There has been a lot of dogs dumped, and I mean a lot of dogs where owners have just let their dogs out the door, tied to lampposts, tied to trees, even worse than that in some cases. Some have had to be fished out of canals and everything, so it's been awful.
The crackdown was ordered by Prime Minister Rishi Sunak after a string of high-profile maulings and a public outcry. The Campaign for Evidence-Based Regulation of Dangerous Dogs said its research showed the number of fatalities from all dog attacks in England and Wales had risen from around 3 per year prior to 2021 to around 10 per year in 2022 and 2023. The number of fatal dog attacks is not recorded by breed at Britain's Office of National Statistics. It showed 16 deaths caused by being bitten or struck by a dog in 2023. From police statements, Reuters was able to confirm at least one of those fatal attacks was by a suspected XL bully type breed. However, other victims of reported attacks wouldn't speak to Reuters publicly. Sonia Falero's Jack Russell dog died after 3 XL bullies attacked her and her husband and daughter in a London park. She says the new laws will be pointless if the police don't enforce them.
Then nobody wins, and certainly victims of dog attacks will be left even more traumatized than before because they will feel that, the law is meaningless. And the lives of their dogs are meaningless.
Britain's largest animal welfare charity, RSPCA, said urgent action was needed to protect the public, but it opposes breed-specific legislation.
Just tell people that's never met a dog like Duke, I'd tell them that they'd have to come meet him before they could judge. Like, come meet my dog, Like, you can't just judge him because of the way he looks, I get judged constantly, obviously, let alone my dog, obviously. And put us both together, we're both being judged, so, yeah. Probably better to do it inside than take him out. Here we go, let's try this. Shaman then, Jake. Good boy. Yes, you are. Oh my days, that's the first time he's let me do that for him. Without me getting behind him. You obviously getting used to it, innit? Must be. Just tighten that up a little bit. When I put his muzzle on and I take him for his walks, he sort of looks at me as if to say, I think he might think I'm punishing him. Like I'm doing it to him. Obviously, he can't speak English, he can't speak my language, so I can't explain to him, I'm sorry. I'll tell him I'm sorry, but it's not my fault. But how much of that does he understand,
Today I have tasked ministers to bring together police and experts to firstly define the breed of dog behind these attacks with a view to then outlawing it. It is not currently a breed defined in law, so this vital first step must happen fast. We will then ban the breed under the Dangerous Dogs Act, and new laws will be in place by the end of the year.
And my extremely brave, completely ridiculous little Jack Russell came out of the vet's office strutting. Anybody who's had a little terrier knows that they have all the guts in the world. So my blind dog comes out of the vet's office now with her ear completely bandaged up and looking just like, oh, this is another adventure in a life full of adventures. And that made me feel like somehow, by some miracle, Zoe would get through this. But she didn't. She just died. A few hours later, she died. And even as he was wrestling this dog and trying to free Zoe from the jaws of the dog, the other two dogs jumped into the fray and attempted to grab Zoe just like she was a toy, and they were going to tear her apart.
So the RSPCA absolutely agrees that we need urgent action to protect public safety, but we strongly oppose breed-specific legislation, and we have long campaigned against this approach. What I think is really important to say is that breed is not a good or reliable indicator of risk of aggressive behaviour.
I think that's half the case, isn't it? The intimidation nature of it.
Yeah.
Put that in with an attack or a bite, and everyone's like, oh, yeah.
Well, this is, I mean...
To be honest, the bottom line is it was chaos. It was chaos. There was owners panicking left, right and centre that they can't afford the exemption fees, the neutering. There has been a lot of dogs dumped, and I mean a lot of dogs where owners have just let their dogs out the door, tied to lampposts, tied to trees, even worse than that in some cases. Some have had to be fished out of canals and everything. So it's been awful, and it has exposed that quite a few owners are irresponsible, should never have had the dogs in the first place. So the situation, it more or less hasn't changed since this was first announced. There's still floods of dogs coming in. There's probably 15 dogs for every one suitable home, so nothing's really changed. There's no let up. Every morning I check my phone, there's another 7 or 8 dogs, people asking me for help, and it hasn't changed.
I think any ban will only work if the police implement the laws. If a person who has been affected, as my family profoundly has, by an attack from an XL bully dog and does not receive any justice from the police because they fail to do their job, then the ban is meaningless. Then nobody wins, and certainly victims of dog attacks will be left even more traumatized than before, because they will feel that the law is meaningless and the lives of their dogs are meaningless.